Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
I'm gonna say this loud enough for the people in the back. You know when your life's gonna change? When you stop running back to the things that God is trying to save you from. When you stop pressing rewind on the things that need to be deleted from your life. When you stop hanging on to the things that you know you need to let go of. Let me tell you this, moving on isn't always about knowing where you're going. It's about knowing where you're no longer staying and what you refuse to go back to. Straight up.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning. Is it? No, it's not morning. Hi, guys. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. I bet you guys missed me. Good evening, Southern Grammy Wolf. First to say good evening to all of us. Well, she actually said happy Saturday, but who knew it was Saturday? Just everybody off work. Colette, it's nice to see you. Slim Skittles. Oh, Lady O, Z-A, it's nice to see you here. It's nice to have you. Kathy Baker. Who else do we have up in the house? I saw a lot of people. I saw a few people I haven't seen in a while. Akita Lover, it's nice to see you. Hey, hey, hey. It does. It does. The case turns my stomach too. We're going to get into a little bit of some of the details of this particular matter. We've been kind of covering it quite extensively for it being a new case. I think what has us all just kind of fixated to this case is every time we turn around, it's something new. Like it's just another, it's a crazy, bizarre case. Let's be honest. And that's what gets us intrigued is the craziness from it all. But we're going to get into a lot of those details. So it's nice to see you guys. Let's see, who else did I not say hi to yet? Emma, it's nice to see you. Did you guys notice Sepsis Kills was back yesterday? It was nice to see her. We hadn't seen her in a while. Shannon, it's nice to see you. Angela, good evening. Diane, it's going to be hard for me to try to say good evening instead of good morning, right? Because we're a morning crew, not an evening crew. But it's a weekend, and we haven't been doing weekends. And so I thought, what a nice thing, to do an evening, because we've been talking about evening shows, but I'm trying to figure out when the best time to do it. And during the week, it's just very difficult to do. So I'm trying to check it out, see if maybe the weekends will work better for you guys. Rhonda Ray, it's nice to see you. Moonlight Magic, good evening. May, it's nice to see you as well. Angie, who else do we have here? Cynthia, nice to see you. Allie. Everybody else, just a big blanket. Good evening, Traveling Queen. It's nice to see you here. Big hugs and kisses to you. Well, nice. I haven't seen you in here in a while. We chat a lot, but I don't see you in here in a while. Jason Riddle, nice to see you. Wonder Seeker, hello, hello, hello. Bougie Redneck, aren't we all? Aren't we all? Texas Life, Julie, nice to see you. Linda, nice to see you as well. Before we get started on this crazy case of Rudy Farias, many of you know we've been talking about it over the last week, and as we were listening to that press conference, and this was the press conference that they had before Quinnell did the press conference in front of the House, and this is the press conference where it almost sounded like, well, to me, it sounded like they were trying to say that there were no evidence of this SA allegation against Rudy. I don't think that's really that's what they were implying to the public. And if you weren't listening to the words correctly, I think many people would assume that's what they were trying to say, right? Oh, you're with the babies? Oh, that's nice. That's nice. But I heard something a little different in that press conference. And I stopped it and let you guys know they admitted to being in that room with Quinnell X. I don't think they're trying to say that they're trying to imply that. And here's why I believe they're saying that publicly. I don't think that there was no allegations of this SA. I truly believe that it is their policy not to disclose that. It's the law. It is the law in Texas that they do not disclose SA victims. And with this type of case, this is something that I feel they would not want to have out there or disclosed for evidentiary reasons, for investigative reasons, for a whole host of reasons. So we're going to go over some of this. I think Quinnell is telling. Oh, I absolutely believe Quinnell is telling the truth. I have never, when I first heard his statement out in front of the hotel, and many people thought was the hospital. It was not. It was a hotel. I put him up on the screen and said, this is a person that doesn't. He has no reason to lie. He's a community activist. It's not like he's got a dog in the fight. He does. I understand activism. I understand community activism, and we stand up for people and we bring attention to cases. That's what happens. He's in a totally different realm of political activism and community activism than I am. However, I do believe him. And again, it comes down to the fact that I don't think he has any reason to lie. He didn't appear to be one that lied. As a matter of fact, he seemed really disgusted, and it was present on his face and in his commentary of how he felt about this. But before we get too far into that, I want to just take a step back. We also have another case that we have been following, the Wynter Smith case. And this is a beautiful 2-year-old girl that was slain by her mother's ex-boyfriend. And we just have a small update on this case, couple little videos on this case, and then we'll get started and have a discussion about Rudy. But I know that my audience is invested in the Wynter Smith case, and this was just horrible. And the man that you're going to see here is much different than the man that we had a photo of earlier. This man looks evil. This man looks like he's pure evil. What am I talking about? I'm talking about that man right there. So we're just going to hear this little bit of news coverage, and then we'll have a chat on it, and then we'll move right on into Rudy.
Breaking here at 5, this man suspected of kidnapping 2-year-old Wynter Cole Smith is hit with federal charges.
Rashad Trice, according to federal prosecutors, strangled the toddler with a pink cell phone cord. Feds announcing these charges against Trice late this afternoon and detailing exactly what happened Sunday night in the hours after the toddler was abducted from her home in Lansing.
Mara McDonald live on Detroit's east side where her body was ultimately found. Mara, the feds say the autopsy is pending, but they believe she was strangled.
That's right, Kimberly, with that pink cell phone cord, and here's why.
That's just
that
awful.
Pink cord was found on Wynter here in this alley. It was also found in the car that Rashad Trice was driving. Let me take you through everything that the feds are saying at this hour. Federal prosecutors detailing their evidence in a thorough complaint. Sunday night, according to them, Wynter was snatched by Trice after he and Wynter's mother, Samari Cole, had gotten into a terrible fight over money. According to the complaint, Cole stabbed him in self-defense, and he then stabbed and sexually assaulted her. Cole ran to get help, leaving Wynter in the apartment along with her 1-year-old son. Trice isn't the father of Wynter. He is the father of Cole's 1-year-old son. When police got there, the 1-year-old was still in there, but Trice had taken Wynter, stolen a car, and was on the road. When the Amber Alert went out, Trice's family reached out to him on the phone. This text exchange was included in the charging document. It's Trice's uncle telling him he loves him, he can help him, and blaming Cole for everything. As you can see, Trice tells him he needs to end it all. Pictures from the Impala he stole show remnants of the pink cell phone cord. The remainder of that cord was found on Wynter when her body was found in this alley. Back here live, we are expecting to have a family vigil for Wynter out here where she was found, expecting to have the paternal side of her family out here, primarily. That's A.J. Smith and his family who live down here in Metro Detroit. And something else, Kimberly and Devin, to consider. These are federal charges leveled by the U.S. Attorney in the Western District of Michigan. And that makes a critical difference here because it means that if Trice is convicted, the death penalty is on the table for him. So
there you go. And that's probably the reason why the feds decided to pick up this case. This case is a horrible, horrible case. There was raw pain at the vigil that they had for Wynter, and I just wanted to let you guys see this. And again, we'll be opening up the phone lines just a little bit for anybody that has anything they would like to get off their chest about this case, and then we'll close the phones down and move on to Rudy.
This is not us. This is not black people. This is not Detroit.
Raw grief and outrage on Detroit's east side as community groups come together for an emotional vigil honoring little Wynter Cole Smith of Lansing.
What's her name? What's her name? Who's baby? Who's baby?
The precious 2-year-old's body was discovered in a nearby alley by Irwin Street after an exhaustive 3-day search. Wynter went missing after suspect Rashad Trice waged a violent stabbing attack against her mother, according to investigators. Law enforcement pinged his cell phone and tracked his drive to Metro Detroit, eventually being led to this spot.
Let me let you know this. It is a fact. Evil transcends all color lines. You never know when evil may show up. You may be living with evil.
There's been
Amen.
too many of these, Detroit.
Yes. So there you have it, guys. They rose up. You know, that's what I love about communities and community activism, and not being afraid to get out in the street with a bullhorn and raise your voice and let your voice be heard. There's nothing more American than that, and in my opinion. And I'm just very, very pleased and blessed to see these people rise up for Wynter Smith, and also rise up for Rudy Farias. So this is a shout out to all community activists, all the people that don't mind getting out there and in the streets and doing the right thing and raising their voice. God bless each and every one of you for doing so. God bless you. I'm going to go ahead and open up the phones just a little bit, because I love my audience, and I know some of these cases really kind of get to you. And, sometimes we need to, vocalize that or express that or get that off of our chest and just have a conversation about it. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines. If anybody does have anything that they would like to contribute to the Wynter Smith case, please, give us a call and tell us your perspective, or say something that you want to get off your chest or anything like that. This is a sweet child. It was hard. I've got to tell you, it was really hard hearing this. It was really hard following this case. It just, doing this, we identify with different cases, so to speak. So like when I was hearing about this case, I was thinking in the back of my mind, the Passion Jeffrey case, that was a horrible case, almost identical information. However, the person that killed Passion's son was the actual biological father of that boy. In this case, this is an older child, and the ex-boyfriend had a problem with it and left his son behind. Meanwhile, taking this little beautiful angel off the face of the earth. And that is just something that I just think is sick. I just think it's absolutely sick how you can hurt a little child. How anybody could hurt a little child is just beyond me. I don't think I understand it. I don't think I ever will understand it. I don't understand what a child can ever do to a grown person, that a grown person can't handle. I don't understand. So many questions. Oh, absolutely. So many questions. I think one of the most powerful things for me in the Wynter Smith case really is the father, the biological father, and the biological father's family. We've seen a lot of people come out, obviously, for this kid, but think about, this girl went through an awful lot. She was attacked. She obviously, other things happened inside that home that she should never have gone through. And the biological father of Wynter completely had no control over this. He's waking up to a nightmare, not only, and I don't even know if the mother is still with the boyfriend, the football player. I don't even remember his name. But their family, it was so heartbreaking, because it seemed like this child was loved by both sides of the family. Sometimes in these types of cases, you have a really good side of the family and a real rotten side of the family. We see it all the time. In this case, it wasn't so. It just seemed like her last boyfriend was a bad apple, evil, a monster, somebody that couldn't control himself, that had lost all types of control. So if we're not going to have any, that's really all I had on Wynter Smith. So if you guys do not want to talk, we're going to go on ahead over to, I'm turning off the phones now. We're going to go ahead over to Rudy's case and get started on that, because there's a lot of twists and turns related to that case. We heard of the press conference. I'm going to go ahead and play some of the press conference here. We probably will stop it, but I have some other information that I want to show you. It appears that Janie rather, is actually trying to stalk her son right now. Her son, there's a lot of news coming out saying that Rudy Farias is with his mother. He is not with his mother. He has not been with his mother since the day he drove off from that hotel. He was with family, friends, and now I am under the understanding that it's possible that he's with actually those immediate family, those cousins and aunts. So many monsters out there hunting these babies. It's heartbreaking and just doesn't end. Please stop hurting these babies. They're our future. I know. And of course, I wake up this morning and find out that another woman, a mom, is in jail right now for abuse to a child under the age of 30 days. And it is so disturbing to me that I can't even air that on my show. And this is every day. We did get some, I'm waiting for, well, I won't tell you about it. Hopefully I'll have something else released. It's a very heartbreaking 911 call I got my hands on. And I'm hoping that it will be released tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, Monday morning, hopefully we should have that released. It's very disturbing, and viewer discretion will be advised on that particular video when it does air. So just FYI, you guys will know when it is, because it'll say 911 call, and you'll know that that's one that if it's hard for you, I got to tell you, it was very difficult to hear for me, very difficult. But it's already ready. It's in the percolator. We just need to hit go and we'll get that out. But here we go. Here is Rudy Farias. Oops, let me turn that off. Sorry, I had the wrong one. Thank goodness nobody was calling that, right? Occasionally I do that. But let me get this going. Get this. Okay, here we are. I had to get past off and left. And that's when it started raining. It was okay. We're almost there. Sorry, guys. I should have said it. I forgot. I agree with you, Angie. I agree with you. They did. I don't think they intended to, but he wasn't a high priority when he went missing because of his age. Let's be honest. And he was deemed a runaway at the time. So there's a lot that's going to go on, and we're gonna break it down. Absolutely, Miss Margaret. Absolutely.
Come right on in, man. Come right on in.
See if we can get this up just a little bit more. There we go.
To speak up on behalf of Rudy Farias, I have come here today to speak that which that young man spoke to me. I have come here today to clear up one thing in particular, the lie that HPD told. HPD said that no sexual abuse was reported. That detective is an absolute liar.
And again, this is a preface that I would like to just state, is that what I heard in that press conference may have been a little bit different than what all of you guys heard, because I'm listening to the actual words being used versus what's being said. And the reason why I do that is because I know law enforcement is very strategic when they put out press conferences or press releases. It goes through multiple hands and goes through multiple drafts before it is released to the public. So they're very cognizant of the wording that they use. And what I heard at that press conference was a man was in the room, a detective acknowledged that he was in the room with Quinnell. You guys may not have heard it, but I heard it because it was one little sentence that a man had stated in that press conference. And if you go back to our Friday review, you will see, watch that live that we did on Friday, yesterday. and it breaks it down because we went through that press conference and I stopped it and explained what the detectives were actually saying. And there was a spot in there where I said, he just admitted exactly what Quinnell said. He was in the room with Quinnell when they questioned Rudy. I also stated by the time that press conference was over, that the one thing that's concerning me with that is that Rudy could very well be charged with a crime as well. And here's why. Because it is a crime to lie to law enforcement about who you are when they are asking you. So, for example, I'm sure many of you heard about resisting arrest without violence, right? A lot of those resisting arrests without violence, when you see people charged with them, they're typically charged with those because they falsified or gave a wrong name, i.e., providing wrong information, So there is, they can't, but I think what we were hearing in the press conference, because what they were saying is about finances, I think what they're saying is they're not going after her for the little stuff. They're going to wait until they get a case and go after her for the big stuff, because we definitely know something is going on here. We definitely are feeling a hint, even though law enforcement hasn't stated specifically, that there is a fraud element involved in here. Now, when you have a SA allegation, don't think that they're not investigating that. What other purpose would they have to go and take a crime scene unit to that house? We're not dealing with a death. We're not dealing with a missing child. We're dealing with an adult that has levied heavy allegations about sexual misconduct going on. And you see a crime scene unit. There is no reason for that crime scene unit to be there other than for forensic purposes. What are they looking for forensically? Biological material. What is that biological material for? To either confirm or refute what Rudy is saying. Don't think, they have a crime scene unit. They may have gone in there to take out evidence of fraud as well. But with them entering the backside of that house, it made me feel like they did that for privacy purposes, which they do want to make sure that most of their investigation and forensic testing is done in private. They don't want to tip off any of the media to create any more of a media circus than that is already there with a type of case like this. But we have to understand that, and Rudy was, I absolutely believe it. I believe Rudy is a victim, and I want justice for him. And I don't care at this point what type of crime he may have been involved in, because I truly believe in my heart and soul that he was involved with them because of his mother. I also looked into the investigation related to his dad. And there were some things that gave me the EBGBs, because we know now that Janie is manipulative, conniving, she's cunning, and she's not above fraudulent and illegal activity for money. And this man was with her, and then all of a sudden starts doing dubious things at his job, which he was a Houston Police Department, and he was actually writing tickets, fraudulent tickets, to justify his overtime. And he got caught and got fired from his job, along with like 4 other people and other officers. And I really believe, because we know how Janie is, I believe that she manipulated him. And that was his job. It was his career. It was probably his identity. If we know anything about law enforcement, when you put on that badge and that uniform, that is your identity. That is who you are, whether you're on the job or off the job. At least from my experience with the friends that I have that are on the job, that wear that badge proudly every day. We talk about the wall of the blue wall, that's what it's all about. It's a brotherhood. It's a sisterhood. It's something that only they can be a part of. So when he was fired from his job, I'm sure that took his identity away from him. that stripped him of who he was. And I keep wondering, it's just something with how Janie is, and this whole, everybody around her dying, and then her the only living relative she has, that, her son, immediate relative, she locks up like a slave. I don't know. This case is just crazy. This case is just crazy. But I believe Quinnell. I've never disputed him. If you don't believe me, you can go back to my videos. They all have about the same colored thumbnail on it. I've been keeping it so you guys know which ones go to him. And you can go back there and watch. But I've stated from the very beginning that I think Quinnell is telling the truth. I don't see any purpose for him to lie. He doesn't have a dog in the fight. He was going out there to help this family. He was being called in there by Janie to help. And so the person that he was called to help, he ended up going against because he found out new information that disturbed him greatly. And this is a community activist that doesn't just sweep stuff under the rug. Community activists aren't bred that way. We're bred that you make it public. You scream from the rooftops. You make it be known. You bring attention to the matter. And that's exactly what this man did. I absolutely agree with all of the steps that he's made. I'm just explaining the justification of law enforcement and why they may be lying about this, because this does not go in with their policies and procedures for this type of case. And right now, with him disclosing, I'm speaking of Quinnell, disclosing all of this information to the public, it's causing a problem. It's causing law enforcement heartburn, right? I mean, think about what was going on in the Idaho 4 when Steve Gonzalez was doing the same thing, right? The law enforcement wasn't taking too kind to him, right? And so we kind of can identify with these cases, these behaviors and these expectations of law enforcement, or what we expect law enforcement to do. I expect law enforcement to act this way with this kind of statement coming out from a community activist, because typically law enforcement are the ones that control the information. Law enforcement has that control over what is disseminated to the public. And right now they have no control, because this man here was in there and he heard what he heard, and he'll be damned if he's not going to say something. Why? Because he's bred. He's a community activist. That's what he does. That's how it works, folks. Right? Nothing new, right? Nothing new here on the Bullhorn Betty channel.
He sat there with me for an hour and 15 minutes and listened to every word Rudy said to me. In fact, he told the detective, I want Quinnell to stay. And Grizzy was right there with us. Rudy asked, could he go home with me? He asked the detectives, can I go home with Quinnell? She's right.
I believe that. I believe that. I truly do believe that this young man is terrified. I think he had just had enough. I think he had just had enough. I mean, I'm sure if anybody in this audience is of any significant age, we've all been there where we've been presented with a situation. We didn't know how to handle it. We grinned and bared it. We pushed through. And there was just a point when we had a breaking point and we're like, I'm done. If I keep going this way, it's never going to change. It's going to be the same thing over and over and over again. And even if he has a mental disability of any kind, he can still process that this is not getting any better. These are actions that are making him feel uncomfortable. These are actions that he knows in his heart and his soul are wrong. And it's just, he had just had enough. A 25-year-old man wants a job of his own, wants a place of his own, wants a girlfriend of his own, doesn't want to be doing that. It's very hard for us to understand, in my opinion.
Witnesses to this. This detective heard everything Rudy said to me. But he was angry with me also, because the detective did not want me in the meeting. He did not want me in the room. and it really got confrontational. We have the video of he and I's heated argument about them asking me to come in and the cops not wanting me to go in. The detective heard Rudy say to me out of his own mouth.
And I think the reason why they didn't want him to go in there is, it comes back to the flow of information. When you have somebody that's not law enforcement in a room listening to stuff, that is a problem for law enforcement. Sometimes they have to do it, but as you can see, they begrudgingly do it because of this particular situation right here, where law enforcement is trying their hardest to control what information is disseminated to the public. And Quinnell saying, no, people need to know this, and I am going to tell them.
Detective sitting right next to me, that in this house, she made him sleep in the bed with her all the time. And that young boy said to me and that detective that I did not like it. I didn't want to do it, that she was crossing boundaries and she would not respect my space and respect.
You guys hear that? Boundaries and space. And the reason why it's important is because here's a tidbit of information about Quinnell. If you listen to his statements that he's made, he hasn't moved off those statements. Because the truth is the truth no matter how many times you say it. And everything he is saying in this meeting right here, in this press conference, he said when he heard it walking out of that hotel. He was not going to stay quiet. And I think the reason why he was not going to stay quiet is because they refused to arrest the mother. Sound familiar?
My boundaries. He said to that detective right in front of me that she would kiss him in the mouth when she made him get in the bed with her in this rotten ass house.
Rotten ass house. Speak it.
That's
a mad man right there. He's mad.
To play daddy. She forced that young man to be her husband. He said to me in front of the detective, she told me I had to be her husband. He said to me in front of that detective, she said, I got to be the daddy now. He said to me in front of that detective that she would come in the restroom while he was in the shower and she would get naked completely herself and pull the curtain back on that young boy. And I'll leave it right there because the rest will make you want to vomit.
Yes.
So for HPD to say,
trust me, this is first of all, I think a lot of this is coming because one, when you're doing the right thing, you never want to be perceived as a liar, or you never want your integrity or credibility questioned when you're doing this. And that's what they did. They basically called this man a liar, and he knows damn well he is not lying. So I think that's the first and most notable point here. The next one is he is so disgusted by the details of this case. And, you know, when adults are unable to take care of themselves, we as the community take care of them. And when they're unable to fight for themselves, we have law enforcement that does that for them. And I think what upsets Quinnell, now granted, I haven't spoke to this man. I'm just assuming here, which take it for what it is, right? But I think he is angry that law enforcement had a duty to protect Rudy after hearing these allegations of abuse and seeing the condition that Rudy was in and allowing him. Now, granted, we heard that he didn't leave with his mother, but the idea of allowing him to leave with his mother was very disturbing for Quinnell, as it was for many of us across this country hearing this case. Hello, I see you. It's nice to see you. Hi, Lisa. Jennifer, nice to see you. JJ. Did I say hi to you, Allie? I'm not sure if I did, but if I didn't, hi. So I really think that may play in this because these details are very disturbing. And let's face it, if these details are ones that I would have heard and I would have saw law enforcement not arrest the mother after hearing this, you know, yeah, this would be what we would do right here. And he does it spectacularly at ground zero, just the way I like it.
That no sexual abuse was reported to them, they're absolute liars. That man heard everything that I heard.
These are blessed waters from my mom.
I'm standing here speaking the truth of what Rudy said to me. And I'm standing here fighting for that young man.
Amen.
I begged the detective, don't allow Rudy to go home with this woman. Don't allow Rudy to leave with this woman. I begged them to do something to stop him. I said to the detective, all three of them, after what you and I just heard in that room with that young man, how in the hell can you allow that boy to leave with that woman?
Now that,
and the detective said,
that is what I believe is the reason why this man is so vocal and angry.
To me, because he is an adult.
And that's what it comes down to, an adult. So I'm just going to skip ahead just a little bit because I wanted you to hear another tidbit of information, and I'm pretty sure it's right here somewhere. Let it catch up real quick. And while it does that, I'm just going to put it back up here because we're having some kind of technical issue. But let me see if I can just go ahead and play this. Let it catch up. Give it just a second. But there's a young man I wanted you guys to hear as well in this press conference that I'm unsure if you guys had an opportunity to hear or not. Why is this thing not working for me? We're just going to let it roll until it pops up. And so this man was talking about, if I can't get it popped up, I'm just going to let you guys know what he said. He basically was one of the neighbors that Rudy was hanging out with in the community. He also said that he saw Rudy himself walking with a gun in his hand, which is a little concerning. But again, you know, we all need to step back and make sure that what we're hearing and doing is accurate and correct when it comes to this case, because there's so many nuances here. And yes, we do believe that Rudy truly is a victim in this case and has been manipulated for years by his mother. But we also have to understand that there's something fishy going on. And the mother actually, let me refresh this. I don't know what's going on with it. It's driving me nuts though. But actually refreshing, sorry, what was I getting at? Actually asked one of the neighbors for $200 to go basically break into the house.
Told me no, don't do it. So
okay, here's let's just listen to what the aunt has to say.
He said she reported to HPD over the years. And she wanted HPD to investigate the mother. She told them she thought the mother was involved. She told them of the warning signs and the red flags that she had discovered. They never followed through. So I think she needs to be interviewed in depth because she knows a whole lot.
And it's not on this one for some reason, but anyways, long story short, I saw an interview. It was out in front of this house. So and it looked like he was wearing the same outfit for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just this or I passed it when I was fast forwarding it, but it was the neighbor coming forward saying that Janie actually reached out to them and told them to please go into the back of the house and break into the house and grab certain things out of the house. And they refused to do it because the kid said he doesn't need the $200 and he knows that they have guns in the house and he doesn't know why they would want why she would want him to break into the home. So he never did it, but she did still offer $200 for him to do that. Let's hear what the cousin has to say.
That's my right to do so. And I wanted to they told me no, don't do that. I'm following wise legal advice. That's none of your business. but Stanley Snyder. But anyway, but Stanley Snyder. But no, told me not to. Yes.
Okay, I'm here. Y'all just asked, was there any other evidence or
How are
anything
you
else any
related to
other
the
way?
victim?
Just state how you related.
I'm sorry, my name is Michelle Rodriguez, and I'm first cousin to Rudy Farias, Janie's niece. Prior to Rudy's disappearance, his so-called disappearance, his mother had been seen by my late grandma of causing abuse to Rudy, sexually, physically, mentally. This did not just start when Janie reported Rudy missing. It was going on for quite some time before then. And did it start at this house? No. But Janie needs.
That is a bold statement from the cousin to say that this has been going on before. And law enforcement needs to look at that, because when she reported him missing, and it's a little off as well, because we don't know if when she reported him missing, if he was 17 or 18. Either way, according to Texas law, he's still considered an adult. But she is saying that it happened before she reported him missing. Most likely, people just don't start doing this to their children when they turn 18. Let's be honest. We have to know that this kind of deviant behavior happens well before any kind of physical contact ever happens. It's what we learn or know as grooming, right? So this is what it sounds like happened. Let's keep listening.
To be brought in, and the police letting her go, the DA letting her go, letting her walk free, because they don't have no proof, and they say that Rudy there are no sexual assault proof. Y'all not gonna know that. I want to say something, but they're not gonna know that if they didn't take him to go get medically checked, and they refuse to do that.
So she's saying that law enforcement refused to even allow Rudy to go get checked. And again, I don't know how they're going to be able to check a 25-year-old man like that. You know, if it's like for females, there's certain things that happen that you can tell, especially if a woman has never had intercourse before. You know, we all know about it, right? So it's not like this is unknown. So I can understand how you can tell for a woman, but how can you tell for a guy, a boy? I don't know. And especially at 25, I don't know how we can definitely tell based upon his behaviors, based upon the allegations, based upon his condition, and based upon certain aspects that this most likely did happen. And I think the only way they're going to prove that this happened is through the use of what? The crime scene unit and forensics, because I think that they need to show that his biological material is left in her bedroom. And I think, honestly, that is what they're trying to achieve with that crime scene unit. I don't think that this case is over. I don't think they're shutting the book on this case by any stretch of the imagination. When you hear the press conference from law enforcement, they're basically saying the reason why we're not charging her yet, and they keep saying yet that people keep forgetting about, is because I truly believe it's a he said, she said, and they need evidence to make this arrest. They have to have, because of the age of the people and because of the allegations involved, I think, and the fact that this has been going on for 8 years, I think that at this point, they need to corroborate the information before they're able to put handcuffs on Janie. And we all know that it takes a little bit for some of that forensic evidence to come back in. So I don't think that I've heard through the back chats that she's going to be arrested within the week. Now, how true is that? I can't tell you. I made that statement a day or two ago that within the next 7 days she should be arrested. But again, I don't know if that's 100% accurate. But what I do know is accurate is that they are talking about arrests, and that's what we want to hear. So there is a conversation. Now with the fraud, I don't know how they're going to treat the fraud allegations. Is Rudy going to be caught up in there? And even if he is caught up in the fraud, he does have extenuating circumstances, guys. It may be one of those things where he is required to be charged. I don't know how they're going to do it, how they're going to work with it. We're going to have to find out. But it seems like Janie is the one that had all the conversations with the PI, was the one that was collecting the money. I don't see how Rudy could be involved in that, because Rudy wasn't showing up collecting that money. Only Janie was. So hopefully that insulates Rudy from those charges, even though we know he was manipulated. Now, how can we explain somebody that's going to be concerned about somebody that's perpetrated this type of abuse on them for so many years? And it's easy to explain. It's called Stockholm syndrome. It's where the captive, has feelings for the captor, that they don't want anything happen. They kind of identify with them because they have been with them. And the Stockholm syndrome is the psychological part of the capture, the isolation, all this other stuff. He still, no matter how we look at this, he was still dependent upon his mother and still is. It's just that he had enough and he broke his silence. And, this is, I feel like, and I think I even heard Brian Enton say it, like, I feel like this is the tip of the iceberg, that there's so much more going on. We hear that Janie packed up in the middle of the night and she's fled. But has she? Has she? I'm not sure that necessarily is a accurate statement. And here's why. Let me pull this down. Hold on. Oh, I burn it. I keep doing that.
This stuff is crazy. This is Janie's rental. And I hope she gets the notification. I haven't blocked her off my page yet. That's the ride that Janie's going around in. What's up with it, Hoodies peeps? She just passed by and she doesn't know I'm behind her. That's Janie right there, friends.
So she's actually trying to drive around to find her son. She's trying to find her son.
Oh, she's going real fast now. She better slow down.
So I thought that was interesting that you guys would like to see. So again, it's getting to the top of the hour, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines again. If anybody would like to, discuss this case, I know that this case is, dominating a lot of the news waves right now because of all the twists and turns in this particular case, as many of you know. Now, before I say too much about this, I did want to ask you guys we're going to be doing something a little different tomorrow. We haven't done it in a really, really long time. And it's going to be a mail campaign. We are now moving over to a mail campaign for the Idaho 4. I'm hearing a need. I'm hearing the victim's family needs help. They're trying to demo the house at 1122 King Road. And, the victims' families are wanting it to stay up until after the trial. And it's not, it seems like all of the families are kind of in consensus with this. So even Ethan's family has stepped up and said that they feel like this is a rushed situation. However, there was a nuance in their response, that they still have 2 children that go to that school and have to walk past that house. But even though they did put that nuance on there, they did state that they felt that it was a little too soon for them to be demolishing the house. So now we have all 4 of the victims' families basically speaking out against the demolition of 1122 King Road until after the trial. And this particular matter, I have to agree. And I'm hearing Shannon Gray coming out and, basically trying to work with the universe to stop the demolition of this house. And I'm hoping that, maybe a little bit of community activism and community support might help tip the school's decision in their favor. I don't want nasty letters going out to the university. I want them heartfelt. I want them kind. I want them generous. And I just want them to basically express, our concern with the demolition of the house until after the trial. Preserve the house. This is the last place that these kids were. They died in that house. They deserve justice. And at the end of the day, just because law enforcement is pointing the finger at Brian Koberger, just because I really truly believe they have the right person, doesn't mean the jury is not going to have questions about this house. This house is of a weird design. They may want to have, audio questions. How can somebody not hear this? How can somebody not hear that? They may want to just see the general construction of the home. And all of that goes away. And we know that there's been jury after jury that goes to these crime scenes to preview them personally. And I feel that that house is the biggest piece of evidence that they have, and they're ready to destroy it. And so I'm trying to find a positive way that all of us, because I know we all have kind of an emotional attachment to this case in one way or another, and I really want to help. And when we came into this particular case, we always came in here in an effort to help. Even when we went out there for the first time and we didn't even know what was up or what was down out in Moscow, our first trip out there was more of a drive to learn more information, to find out if these kids had anything to do with it, and more importantly, to make sure everybody saw us out there in the community and that we were not scared, to help bring down the temperature in that environment with a unknown person that just killed 4 students. We were out there trying to help. We were not out there hindering. We were out there protesting. We were out there fact-finding and trying to let parents that were scattered across this country see that there were people out there moving around the community, that there was law enforcement on every corner, that it was safe for their kids to be there. Just to bring that temperature down, a few degrees. And this is no different. This is a very important piece of evidence that I think that needs to be preserved, even if the university doesn't feel like it needs to be preserved. Now, we have to understand that there's a huge cost, and there's been a huge cost keeping this house protected. They can't just leave it unmanned, because even the students may get drunk and decide they want to go check out the house. Like, they have to have somebody there. They can't trust the media. They can't trust the students. They can't trust anybody to stay out of this home. So that has to be monitored. It has to be monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, is there a way for them to do it digitally? Maybe help cut some of those costs? Possibly. And maybe they should look at that. Maybe they should look at that option available to them, right? But I really don't think that it is good. The families of the victims, which their voice should have the most weight out of anybody's voice, because at the end of the day, they lost the absolute most out of this. They lost the absolute most. The stuff and the things that they lost, money could never buy. There's not an insurance policy large enough for their loss. And I think that when we have 4 families coming out saying, please don't destroy this huge piece of evidence, that's a call that we here on the Bullhorn Betty channel like to hear. And we come to those calls. When they're asking for community support in this matter, we're going to do it. And, I'm glad that there is a petition going around, but let me be honest with you. I've been in politics for a really long time, and those petitions do absolutely nothing. They do absolutely nothing. They are a feel-good action item. They present that. It does absolutely nothing. You know what does something? Being the pimple on the butt of this university and letting them know that we as a community really think that this decision is a very poor decision and the reasons why. Again, this is to be very respectful of the university. They've gone through enough. We don't want to badger them. We don't want to be, but we do want it to be overwhelming. We want the response to be overwhelming. We're going to do the same thing we did for the summer wells. You know, one sheet of paper, one stamp, one envelope. Everybody can afford that. Everybody can do their part. And I hope other creators come on board with this, you know, and start doing that. I will be preparing sometime tomorrow, maybe either before church or after church, the letter, a template letter that you guys could just cut and paste and sign and print, and just like we did with Summer Wells, and get that sent off to the university. But again, we're going to be asking for all hands on deck on this project. Any creator, pass it around to other creators. Anybody that believes that this house should stay up, come tomorrow when we do our live, which will be most likely after church. We're not going to do, you know, break of the dawn, early lives on the weekends, right? So we'll go to church tomorrow. We'll pray. We'll get rejuvenated, and then we'll get to the drawing block and figuring out how we can provide help in this situation. And I think the key to this situation is a letter campaign. I think with the university seeing the overwhelming amount of letters coming in, I really think that would be very, very impactful for the university and their decision to demolish this house. So I really think that this is something we can all get behind. It's really, I think it would really benefit. So I'm not sure how you guys feel, but the ones that feel that this is a good idea can do it. And the ones that are opposed to it, you don't have to. But I really want to try to help. And I really believe that this is the best way we could, as a community, help these families. So I'll be preparing it. Hopefully we can all get on board with it and get those out. So when you're out in the YouTube community and you're on other pages, please start bringing up this, mail campaign. The family, the attorneys, everybody is wanting this house to stay up until after trial. We're not saying that this house doesn't need to come down. Okay, we want to see this house demolished. I can tell you that personally, for me, I don't want to ever see that house again. I never, ever, ever want to see that house again. But you know what? I think that house needs to stand until after the trial, just as an ounce of prevention, right? Because once it's destroyed, they can never undestroy it. They can never put it back up. They can never put it back up. So I'm hopeful that I get the support of this community, get the support of my audience, and I really hope that you guys do your part and start passing it around. Pass it around on all the channels, all your crime channels that you do, that we really need all hands on deck. And let's do a mail campaign to the university, a loving mail campaign to the university. I want this to come from a place of love, a place of understanding what their community is going through, and that we understand that this is truly hard on their community, and we understand it, but we just need it up just a little bit longer. If they can just hold off just a little bit longer, allow the jury to see that home. Please allow the jury to see that home. Allow them the opportunity to see that home. And we're going to start pushing that through starting tomorrow after church. I think it's the most appropriate day to start putting those wheels in motion. And it's going to be something, it's going to be a drumbeat that we're going to do until we get word from the university that they're not going to demolish this house. But anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday. Thanks for listening to me. We are going to be moving forward. We are here to help the victims and victims' families. Despite what anybody says, our hearts will always be in the right place. This is something that the families are wanting done. And we, as a community that has been following this case, has been, just pried into everybody's business with this case. We owe the family this much. We owe the families to have their back and to stand up and fight with them. And we're going to take this and we're going to do it from a place of love, a place of respect, and a place of honor for those young kids. So with that, guys, you have a wonderful evening. God bless each and every one of you. Please don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, be safe and kind to one another. Good evening.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.